Pope Pius XII is a living testament to the limits of spiritual power in a chaotic world. Faced with an unrelenting massacre, he made complex choices between humanitarian protection and safeguarding the Church's security. The debate over his role in World War II persists, but it cannot be denied that his covert actions during that time saved thousands of lives, even though they were not enough to conceal the brutality of a comprehensive genocide. Pius XII, born Eugenio Pacelli in 1876 in Rome to a traditional Catholic family, began his career in the Catholic Church at an early age and quickly demonstrated his talent in diplomatic affairs. Before becoming Pope in 1939, Pius XII had an impressive career, particularly as Secretary of State under Pope Pius XII. Thanks to his diplomatic skill, he played a key role in international negotiations, especially in fostering relations between the Vatican and world governments. One of the key milestones in Pius XII's career before becoming Pope was his condemnation of the Reichskonkordat Treaty between the Vatican and Nazi Germany in 1933. Although the treaty was officially intended to protect the Church's interests in Germany, many, including Pius XII, viewed it as a troubling compromise with the fascist regime. His stance on Nazism was always clear and unequivocal. He was concerned about the expansion of a dictatorial regime that worshipped extreme nationalism and treated minority groups, especially Jews, with brutality. The expectation: spiritual leadership in wartime. When World War II broke out, a large part of the expectation placed on Pius XII was that he would serve as the spiritual leader of the Church in a time of great upheaval. The audience hoped that he would not only maintain unity within the Catholic community, but also stand up for humanitarian values, asserting righteousness in the fight against totalitarian and brutal regimes. With his extensive diplomatic experience and deep concern for the safety of the Jewish people, Pius XII was expected to protect the vulnerable in society, while also keeping the Church from being drawn into major political conflicts. However, Pius XII's role during the war remains a subject of controversy. While some argue that he took courageous actions to protect Jews and minority groups under Nazi rule, others criticize him for not publicly denouncing the boycotts and exterminations carried out by the fascist regime. Although the Vatican and Pius XII took protective measures, such as shielding Jewish priests and nuns, many still feel that he did not speak out strongly and publicly against Hitler's actions. The central figure of the debate, Pius XII became the central figure in debates due to his enigmatic decisions and delicate approach to both international and internal church matters during wartime. His actions, from maintaining the neutrality of the Vatican to diplomatic decisions regarding Nazi Germany, were always subject to criticism and controversy. On one hand, he secretly protected the oppressed, but on the other, he refrained from publicly condemning the German regime. This silence made him a polarizing figure in public opinion, raising the question of whether he truly did enough to prevent the boycotts and atrocities committed by the Nazis. Therefore, the debate surrounding Pius XII is not only about his actions and statements, but also about how he fulfilled his role in dealing with totalitarian regimes, protecting the innocent, and maintaining stability for the Church during such a perilous and brutal period in history. If the Vatican had spoken out too strongly against Nazi Germany, the Church would have faced severe risks. Monasteries, churches, and religious institutions could have become targets, and priests and believers might have been arrested, tortured, and even killed. The fascist regime, known for its brutal and unforgiving nature toward those who opposed it, would have had no hesitation in taking extreme measures to punish organizations and individuals who resisted. Additionally, the Vatican also had to consider concerns regarding its relationships with other countries. Allied governments, such as Britain and the United States, might have questioned the Vatican's neutrality if the Pope had spoken out forcefully, which could have impacted diplomatic efforts to end the war and protect innocent lives. The secret actions of the Vatican. Although the Vatican did not publicly denounce Nazi Germany, it carried out a series of covert actions to help Jews and other persecuted groups. One of the key actions was the provision of shelter for thousands of Jews in church facilities, including churches, monasteries, and schools. These establishments became safe havens from the Nazi hunt. The Vatican also sent official letters of protest to the German government about the brutal actions of the regime. While these letters were not made public, they served as a form of diplomatic protest, expressing concern and resistance to Nazi atrocities. Vatican diplomats played a crucial role in rescuing Jews from the Nazis. They used their diplomatic ties to protect and assist those being hunted, utilizing the Church's international network to safeguard the lives of thousands. A notable example of this was the Vatican's efforts in Hungary, where Church diplomats worked to save Jews from being sent to concentration camps. Though the Vatican did not openly condemn the fascist regime, these secret actions demonstrate a significant effort to provide assistance. And the role of Pius XII and Vatican diplomats was vital in saving thousands of lives during this dark period in human history. Supportive viewpoints. Pius XII has always had defenders who emphasize his efforts to protect the innocent, despite not publicly condemning Nazi Germany. Evidence suggests that he did everything he could to protect the oppressed. Actions such as providing shelter to Jews in church facilities, sending protest letters to the Nazi regime, and the efforts of Vatican diplomats to save Jewish lives show that the Vatican took many protective measures, albeit in secrecy. Additionally, many survivors and victims from that era have spoken out in praise of the Vatican's actions and Pius XII. Figures like Edith Stein, who was murdered at Auschwitz but had previously been hidden under the Church's protection, along with other Jews saved through the Vatican's intervention, demonstrate that Pius XII truly made a positive impact in protecting the victims of the fascist regime. Critical viewpoints. However, Pius XII's legacy is also marked by criticism. Some argue that he did not do enough to denounce the crimes of Nazi Germany, especially the Holocaust. The Vatican's failure to publicly condemn the genocide led to strong criticism from historians, who argue that this silence contributed to allowing the atrocities to continue without facing stronger resistance from international bodies. One of the major questions raised is why, with Vatican's power and influence, Pius XII did not speak out more forcefully and publicly against the actions of Nazi Germany, particularly when millions of innocent lives were being exterminated. His diplomatic decisions, within the context of Vatican neutrality, remain a subject of ongoing debate with no clear resolution. The impact of the Cold War on the evaluation of Pius XII's role is also an important factor that cannot be overlooked. After the war, the confrontation between the Soviet Union and the Western powers created a complex political environment which politicized the assessment of wartime leaders' actions. Allegations of Pius XII's silence became part of the ideological battle during the Cold War, as Vatican and Western powers clashed with the Soviet Union over influence and ideological control. Furthermore, political factors, such as the conflict between European political forces, played a significant role in shaping differing views on Pius XII's legacy. Countries and organizations tend to view his role through their own political lens, which further polarized the perception of him. Pius XII's legacy remains a controversial topic, with opposing views on what he did to protect the Jews and resist Nazi Germany. His silence in condemning Nazi atrocities, alongside his covert efforts to protect victims, creates a complex and difficult-to-evaluate picture. Historical and political factors continue to heavily influence the perception of Pius XII's role and legacy in the context of the modern world. Closing statement. As we conclude this video, we've journeyed through a challenging and controversial examination of Pope Pius XII's role during World War II. His silence and diplomatic decisions still raise questions about what truly transpired in the shadows of history. What do you think of Pius XII's choices in confronting the fascist regime? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to learn more about historical events, controversial figures, or lesser-known stories, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss the exciting videos from the Historical Owl channel. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to exploring more discoveries with you soon.